He's just got like a smirk that could rival Natalie Dormer.
I know, it's amazing.
Like how he's not a Terrell.
Yeah, right.
They really needed. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching The House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 10.
The Black Queen.
You might have to do some heavy lifting. I'm very hungover. And so, I watched it. I liked it. I had a good time.
No, it was good.
I wasn't entirely sure. I mean, it was largely vibes. Mm-hmm. I just could kind of tell by the way everybody was looking at each other.
Sure.
But so, we were with the Greens last week and the crowning of Aegon and all that. And then we pick up with the Blacks this week.
Yep.
And it starts with Rhaenyra giving Jace a pep talk. Luke. Which one's old? Luke?
No, Jace is the oldest one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it starts with Rhaenyra giving Luke a pep talk. He's like worried about not being...
Jace is the oldest one.
Yeah, but I thought it was the youngest one.
Oh, yes, you're right. About the driftmark thing. I was like, maybe I'm hungover. I don't know what you're talking about at all. No, you're correct. He doesn't want to, because they still at that point don't know if Corlys is going to make it or not. And so he's like, I don't want the driftmark. Corlys, like the sea snake is the best sailor in the realm.
When it was happening, I was like, this is a weird way to open this episode. I was like, why is the like first like couple scenes, I was like, this is written weird.
What show is this?
But then about halfway through, about the 3/4 mark, I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. So basically it was what you would expect. Rhaenys came to Dragonstone and told Rhaenyra.
She was like, continued her bad bitch bossery in this fucking episode. She just, especially because she never actually kneeled.
I was wondering.
But she kept on giving her these kind of like sly grins. And I was like, dope.
I was wondering what was happening.
I think it was actually specifically because they still weren't sure if Corlys was going to live or die. And so, or like what he would say when he got there.
I'm glad that I was like worried we were going to lose him. And he's one of the few.
Especially off screen. What a waste. Yeah.
But he's one of the few that gives me that sort of like Tywin Lannister vibes where I'm like, as long as he's around, like things will.
Yeah, but he's like a lot more like nurturing. Tywin.
No, but I mean Daddy's home.
Sure.
Like he gives me that, and I really liked his. It was. I don't think we mentioned it in our coverage, but it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago, where he was like, blood doesn't matter, the name does.
Yeah, he literally. That's what I like so much about him, and even to the point where Rhaenys tells him that his brother is dead, and she's like, well, he called them bastards in front of everybody, and he's almost like, what can you do?
So yeah, they're basically Rhaenyra goes into early labor.
Yeah,
it was in fact labored. I was sort of okay with it. You and Rachel like turned inside out.
I apologize. It hurts my vagina to think about it, and that's why I don't want to birth children.
It shows the dichotomy of like, because she's meant to be that
of
girl.
Course.
The boys are the kings, and the girls have the kids, and so it's like here she is in a moment of
vulnerability,
having to take leadership, but she sort of has to prioritize the baby that she's having while Daemon kind of does it. And I kept getting vibes that he was going to.
Okay, that was my only issue with this episode. But I do kind of think it's warranted. I just, based on like the last 3 episodes of his behavior, his like nothing but vengeance attitude really kind of rubbed me a little the wrong way. So it's also like, I saw something, I don't know if it was on a TikTok or if it was on like a Twitter or a tweet or whatever, but I was sort of like, it feels out of character for him who like, for the two of them in their relationship, because her mother died in childbirth and that was very traumatic for her, and his previous wife died in childbirth and that was very traumatic for him and their girls. And so I'm just sort of like, should you not want to like be together? Like, I feel like
they had the time.
The 6 hours that it's going to take to birth this half a baby that's not going to live is that's not time that you're going to be able to accomplish much of anything besides send those ravens like they talked
Yeah,
about.
no, I mean, I kind of got it, and if anything, it kind of showed
Yeah.
that they could work as
Yeah.
a team, as a duo.
But then the other scene where he like fucking choked her out was so
I didn't
bizarre.
understand that. And what did she? How did she respond? She said something to him, and I didn't understand it at all.
I don't know.
Because she referenced like the dream.
Oh,
or the,
Viserys never told him.
Yeah, but the way she said it, I didn't understand. Yeah, I hated that so much I blocked it. Like you saying it right now, I was like, oh yeah, he did choke her.
I think that so that was the most out of character part to me, was him choking her out. I get what he was saying, where he was like that my brother was like taken under by portents and omens and stuff that didn't mean anything, and that's when she was like, oh, he never told you about. So it's like, I think in that moment she's realizing that she's the only one he ever told that to, and it's kind of like it's alienating for her to be the only one who like knows that.
But it also, I mean, it reaffirms her claim, because okay, no, I'm getting it now. But man, I wish I wasn't. So.
It reaffirms her claim only to herself. And
no, but I mean, because at that moment she is considering taking the deal. Like she's considering, because Otto came to see her with his terms, and she like did her show with the dragon. It was amazing. It was like fun to watch.
Well, it's the same thing that same one that she did in like earlier in the series too. It was amazing.
Oh, younger her. Yeah, Millie. And it just goes to show that like the High Towers have put some thought into this. Yeah. Like they came with like
lots of like if they hadn't usurped the throne, they came with very good turn. Like it was very good.
Depending on where you are with that, because it's like we're slightly more Alicent sympathizers or empathizers. And so it's
empathizer. I'm not a sympathizer.
But it's like I can see, I mean, I understand people's argument that it's dumb for her to believe this, but also I can believe that she wants to believe it.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like the fact that because let's be honest, that she is giving this thought is interesting. And I mean, I know that this is how drama works, but I'm just so frustrated because they just had that moment in episode 8. And I'm just sort of, because Otto hands her the page that I don't remember. I can only assume it was from that book they were reading.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just wish the two of them could talk. I mean, I feel like we'd probably be in the same place.
But I mean, I don't know. And the thing is it's like, it's literally the moment that Rhaenyra and Daemon took flight to go back to Dragonstone. Viserys died, and Alicent like heard these last words that were for Rhaenyra, but she thought were for her, and so it's just sort of like a whole thing.
It just fucking Otto, man.
What a
it's like a reverse Lady Macbeth. It's like an Electra. Like I don't even know, because he's like steering through her.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was really tragic. But no, I like that now. I didn't think about it in the moment, but it was sort of a reformation for Rhaenyra that she had to follow through with this.
I also think it's actually the only reason it didn't totally break Daemon's character for me is because I do think he's blinded by the grief for his brother, he's blinded by the grief for their daughter, he's blinded by
ambition.
Well, not I think less ambition, but like rage and vengeance about like what's been taken.
I mean that I think is always
been there
down inside him. I was like, because if they have established one thing, it's that he is a wild card. He
is a wild card, and I think it's also that's sort of like before he chokes her out when she clears the room, because he's like, "What are you gonna do about this?" I think he is very hot-headed, and he would have already taken his dragon alone and gone and burned the Red Keep to the ground, like right now. But she is trying to find a peaceful way through this.
She's her father's daughter,
100%.
Because she even had that. I really appreciated it. This episode, this back half of this season has done so much for me to actually endear me to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Outside of the main character, Gryffindor, like Luke Skywalker, we're just supposed to like him because he's the hero type thing. And this gave me reasons to want to like and want to root for Rhaenyra,
100%.
Other than this is her show.
Yeah. And I think it cannot be overstated how good Emma Darcy is.
Well, because she's
so good.
She's the only one that was like, but if I am the queen, what is my duty?
Yeah.
And so it's like, or even actually taking queen off, it's like, if I go to war over my claim to the throne and destroy all this in the process, that's not...
In that sense, I think someone else in Game of Thrones had a very similar, like, vibe. Because I think it was Dany. Because Rhaenyra says, I don't want to rule over a kingdom of blood and ashes. Like, that's not what I'm about. And I think Dany said the same thing, where it's like, yes, we do have all of these dragons, but if it's sort of like nuclear war, if you just loose the dragons, everyone will burn, and you can't come back from that.
They said, I've lost all count of Dragon Watch, which ones we've seen and which ones we hadn't. Although I think that Luke's, I think his was new. I don't remember seeing that one.
Luke?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he had it for a while. They, like, get the eggs when they're baby.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it.
Oh, potentially, yes.
It was, like, purpley.
Rip. Literally.
It was good.
It was pretty good.
I was removed enough.
Yeah. Don't get, like, going forward, just in your day-to-day life, don't get attached to the dragons on this show.
But
there's a reason why the dragon eggs in the, like, premiere of Game of Thrones are such a big deal.
So they said that Team Black has 10 dragons?
It sounded like
or 14.
Upwards, like 13 or 14.
14.
And then there's a ton of eggs as well.
And then the green has 4.
3 or 4, yeah.
But one of them is very big.
Yeah.
It was kind of, there was like little, because your husband said it, and I completely agree, there was little Jurassic Park, almost like homages
towards
that
the end, yeah.
I really appreciated.
At Storm's End, for sure.
I really appreciated it. Even that, I'm pleased, because we really liked Game of Thrones when it started, and then it wore out its welcome, and we thought the plotting got sloppy and lazy.
Yeah.
It turned into that, like, 2000s anti-hero, man-pain drama thing.
There was a little bit of man pain in this episode.
There was, but I liked that ultimately there was thought behind it and the logic, because Aemon, though he is 100% intending to menace Luke, when he kills him, it's like a, oops.
Oh no, he died!
Yeah, it was big, that. And I don't know, again, they have established that these boys are like hot-headed and like all this stuff.
Well, okay, he keeps calling him Lord Strong, which is
I didn't even pick up on that.
Still not good.
I didn't even pick up on that.
But here's the thing.
I'm not saying that he's like, I'm not like forgiving it or what.
No. But he's got that cool stone in his eye. He's hot. He's so hot. I don't know what to do about how hot he is.
My point is, the raising of the stakes checked for me, because that it wasn't actually his goal to do that.
No, of course.
But that's the one thing that needed to be done in order for Rhaenyra to go scorched earth. And it's like, I think that the plotting, it's won me back over, where I was very cautious coming to the show. I was like, I don't know, you burned me last time.
Yeah.
And I think over the course of this season, and for me, it's been uneven, but I think it has re-earned, my faith just in time to lose the showrunner that we think is responsible.
Yeah, Miguel will not be back for season 2, which is a little unfortunate. I think what's also interesting about this episode in juxtaposition to episode 9 is that we see a lot more of Rhaenyra as a mother, and she's just superior at it in every way to Alicent.
Well, and that's another one where I'm like, so a lot of this, to my understanding, this is based on more of a textbook and less of a novelization. Yeah. The way Glenn Weldon explained it was, it's like a historian was trying to put together differing accounts and make them make sense, which is fascinating and intriguing in its own right. I might look into it. I'm not a big reader, but so a lot of this layering that they're doing for Alicent, I really appreciate.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't want a cartoonish villain. Even Cersei wasn't even Joffrey wasn't a cartoonish villain. There was stuff there that made it make sense.
But I'm saying, knowing that that's an invention of the show explains some of the issues, like her 11th hour idiocy with Viserys.
Sure.
Or the fact that I'm like, what we're seeing of her, she seems like she would be a good mother. But then her children are terrible. And so there's sort of like...
Yeah, so that's the thing, too, that was...
It's confusing to me.
Yeah, it's confusing to me as well, and I think it's one of those things that doesn't make, like, a ton of sense, because you would think that, like, after alienating her friend and marrying her friend's father and like being in this position she doesn't really want to be in, she would cleave to her children and like make that her priority and really raise them with a lot of love and care that she didn't necessarily get because her mother was dead and her father is Otto.
But I'm saying knowing that that's something that the show is doing to try and explain her helps me make peace with the fact that it ends up at the end of the day making her inconsistent in a way that's frustrating.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you do have that her children are actual Targaryens. Well. Unlike...
Rhaenyra is still a Targaryen.
Sure. But yeah, okay, yeah.
They are half Targaryens, just like Alicent's kids are.
But I'm going for the whole, like, the gods flip a coin. So, I mean, she could have been doing her best. Yeah. And it still wound up with this.
Oh, for sure. Like, they got more of the Targaryen and less of the Hightower. I get you.
Yeah, so we weren't really covering the plot, but basically... her sons, and I liked this. I liked this a lot.
I did as well.
Because they were listening to her.
They really were.
I was so afraid that they were going to go
Well, we
hot
still
shot.
didn't see what Jace did.
No.
At the wall, at the veil in the wall.
Yeah.
Or not the wall, but Winterfell.
Because I was going to say that they basically offered to go, like, sort of check on these allies. And I was going to make a joke, and it just failed. I was going to say that they sent Luke to Nick Offerman from House Baratheon.
He did kind of look like Nick Offerman. Those fucking Baratheons. Basically, they're trying to shore up their support, because Rhaenyra is doing everything, like, as correctly as she can. And she was like,
Which she should have learned from her father that that's a fool's errand.
She was like, I want to know who my allies are before I send them to war. And so she was like, we need to know about the Baratheons, the Aarons, and the Starks. So that's what we're going to do. And Jace goes to the Aarons and the Starks, and she sends Luke to the Baratheons.
The bringing in the Starks. Because, you know, for us, for the audience, there's a part of us that's sort of like, And we do still have the Eric and Eric.
Well, only one of them is here.
Well, the other one was with Otto.
Yeah, they are twins. They are
but I'm saying
brothers fighting brothers.
Yeah, we like saw them like stare down. And he did I guess Eric did swear.
I don't care which one.
Fealty to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
I like the funeral for
the baby.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, we did say that Aemon killed. So what was happening? So he was actually trying to back off. It was the dragon.
Okay, I think so, because Luke took his dragon and blew fire on Vhagar, and then I think Vhagar was retaliating, and Aemon was trying to get him to stop. Because I think you're right. He's like a son of a bitch, but I think he was just trying to be like, are you scared, little boy?
I mean, I think he was trying to take his eye, but...
Well, he was definitely trying to take his eye. Dude, it's been so long.
Yeah, I was like, I think he would have spilled blood, but I don't think he was intending...
No, but then Vhagar was like, fuck you, dude, and tore through that fucking the baby dragon. It's a real bummer. And so, but then I like, okay, what's his name? The guy who's playing Aemon? Ewan Mitchell. The look on his face after he realized he was like, oh no, what do I do? And then the last shot was Daemon found out somehow and was coming to tell.
Do we have any other things that we need to touch on from?
Well, the Sea Snake has, they're going to cut off shipping and travel. They're like, they own the Narrow Sea.
So this like side project of his paid off finally.
Because he like secured the stepstones, which is like pretty cool.
Important. Remember the crab feeder?
Also, Rhaenys like kind of let him have it.
She really did.
You left me high and dry when I needed you the most. Yeah. And she basically was like, now what? And he declared for Rhaenyra, so they're all together. I guess whichever one of the daughters was betrothed to Luke is up for grabs again now. So
girls.
Yeah. They've really been going through it. I really want someone to like take Rhaenys aside and be like, look, Laenor is across the Narrow Sea.
I don't know, because that's a show change.
Yeah.
So that might be
he like actually died. Well, although
he actually died, so that might be the last we see of him.
Maybe he didn't, and that's just the like account, because that's what it looked like. It looked like he died. Maybe that's just the historical account.
The way it's framed is that the show changed that, so we don't know. In the books, he does not come back, whereas in the show he could.
He could. I just want her to like feel okay that she still has a kid out there.
Well, because it clears up her relationship with Daemon and Rhaenyra.
If she knows,
that, you know, that she thinks that they might have killed her son.
Yeah.
You know, so Rhaenys is a takeaway for me. She's a really interesting character.
Eve Best is fantastic.
In a post 2016 world, it's interesting to see a character like this,
absolutely,
depicted.
Yeah. And I love too, like, Rhaenyra made one of Bela or Rhaena, one of them, I don't know which one is which. She made one of them her cupbearer and then like took the other one as well to like, so it's like, I love that she's like including everybody in this. And I think Rhaenys is going to be moving forward like a big advisor. I think it's going to be fun.
So, okay. I think that's good.
Good episode, good season.
No, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm solid.
I dug it quite a lot.
I hope that we did a good enough job, and maybe we'll see you back next time.
We don't know when.
I'm hoping. I think that they could knock it out in a year. I mean, I guess there's a heavy effects budget. We didn't find out if what's her name, the White Worm, Sonoya Mizuno. Apparently, that was her like house that was burning.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine.
She's dead.
Yeah, that feels. I don't know.
It feels like such a waste of her.
So, okay. Bye.
Bye.